What lots of people don't know about New Orleans is there was a gigantic theme park. I live right around the corner from it, and it literally still says, "We'll open after storm." There's some areas of New Orleans where the storm has never passed.
August 24th, 2005, Hurricane Katrina began to form in the Atlantic Ocean during a record-breaking hurricane season. To form, a hurricane needs very warm surface temperatures, around 80 degrees. The surface temperature when Katrina formed was much higher. Another component of a hurricane's strength is mid-level moisture. This makes the deeper thunderstorms further develop, and again, when Katrina formed, the mid-level moisture levels were extremely high. The third thing that makes hurricanes so strong is the vertical wind shear. The less wind shear, the stronger the storm is. Vertical wind shear breaks up the circulation and storms in a hurricane, and the vertical wind shear was much lower than normal in the Atlantic and Caribbean when Katrina was forming. Hurricane Katrina first hit Miami, Florida as a Category 1 storm. It then made its way towards the Gulf of Mexico, where it picked up a lot of strength from the Gulf's warm waters. In just 2 days, it had increased from a Category 1 to a Category 5 storm, which is the strongest a hurricane can be. August 29, 2005, Hurricane Katrina made landfall in New Orleans. The storm caused the levees to breach, and the water of Lake Pontchartrain infiltrated the city, putting 80% of it underwater. Those who were able to leave the city evacuated in the few days preceding the storm, and those who couldn't took shelter in the Superdome, which is normally where the New Orleans Saints play. The total death toll from the storm was 1,836 people. Katrina also caused $81 billion worth of property damage. New Orleans is a city with a unique culture, unique food, and unique citizens. After the storm, the city that people knew that was filled with music and good food and vibrant people had been turned into a barren ghost town. Part of the reason that the levees broke was the poor engineering. The levees were built in the 1980s as I-wall levees, which were more cost-effective, smaller, and weaker than the T-wall levees, which are now in place and are being further improved to this day. The Ninth Ward was a neighborhood that was hit particularly bad. Habitat for Humanity, along with a few other organizations, donated a huge amount of new houses to this neighborhood. I personally have a vivid memory as a second grader driving through the Ninth Ward once the city was marked safe to return to, and I saw entire houses that had been completely picked up and moved from their foundation to the middle of the street. The storm is still evident in many of New Orleans' favorite eateries, such as Angelo Bricado's, an ice cream shop. Above the door handle, there's a plaque marking the water line, and there's a framed photo of what the shop looked like right after Katrina. Though it's been rebuilt, along with many of the places that Katrina hit, the storm will never be forgotten and will always remain part of the history of these buildings. Aside from the physical mitigation, the spirit of New Orleans had been crushed. On September 25, 2006, the New Orleans Saints played their rival team, the Atlanta Falcons. People were able to put aside their feelings and come together to focus on football. Steve Gleason that night blocked the opening punt, and that moment became a symbol of the rebirth of New Orleans.